very bad.
Unit 6, Track 2.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Warren, and for today's show, I'm on a street where lots of young people hang out on Saturday evenings. I'm going to ask some people their opinions about inventions from the first 2 decades of the 21st century and which inventions they think will be considered the most historic in the future. Excuse me, sir? I'm from Channel 9 TV, and I'm asking people to give their opinions about 21st century inventions. Are there any that you think will have historic importance?
Yeah, maybe 3D printers. Those could have historic importance. Actually, I'm pretty worried about several of the recent inventions, but to me, the invention that is the most worrying so far is the 3D printer. If there's a time when people can make most of their own products, it will be very bad for business.
That's an interesting point, thank you. What about you, ma'am? In your opinion, are there any historic 21st century inventions so far?
Well, there are a lot of amazing new inventions. I'm a photographer, and I think one of the most exciting inventions is a camera that can take 360-degree pictures. I'm really excited because these cameras are totally changing professional photography. I don't know if it's a historic invention, but it's important in my career.
I see. Thank you for that. Excuse me, sir. Which 21st century inventions do you think are the most interesting or exciting?
Well, I'm really amused by some of the things that have been invented recently. Apparently, somebody has invented a little hammock for feet, and I think that's really funny. There are some inventors who are creating some pretty amusing things.
Yes, I guess some inventions are more amusing than useful. They probably won't have historic importance. Excuse me, ma'am, can I ask your opinion about 21st century inventions?
Sure. Driverless cars are amazing, but are those cars going to be safe in big cities where there is a lot of traffic? I'm worried about that. I guess there are a lot of people who want to read or check their text messages and let their car drive, but not me. Anyway, I think driverless cars will have a huge effect on transportation.
Yes, I totally agree that driverless cars are a historic invention. I think there are some people who are worried about driverless cars, but I'm sure the technology will improve a lot before there are many of them on the streets.
Unit 6, Track 3. Today's subject on game changers is one of the most famous doctors in history. Before 1967, there had been transplants of several different human organs, but there had been no successful heart transplants. On December 3, 1967, South African heart surgeon Christian Barnard changed that forever. Christian Barnard was born in South Africa in 1922, and he grew up in a poor family. Dr. Barnard got his medical degree at the University of Cape Town in South Africa, and later studied cardiac surgery at the University of Minnesota in the U.S. Before he became a cardiac surgeon, Dr. Barnard had worked in medicine for several years, and he had found a cure for a fatal kidney defect. Dr. Barnard was a very capable heart surgeon for 10 years before he attempted the first transplant. He introduced open heart surgery to South Africa. Before he transplanted the first human heart, Dr. Barnard had practiced the operation on dogs, so he had had some experience with the procedure. In 1967, he felt that he was ready to do a human heart transplant, and he found a 54-year-old man with serious heart disease. The man's situation was hopeless, and he agreed to try a transplant. Dr. Barnard found a heart donor, and the operation was done. The transplant was successful, but the man died of pneumonia 18 days after the operation. Dr. Barnard went on to perform more heart transplants, and several of his patients lived for years after their transplants. Today, over 7,000 heart transplants are performed every year, and deaths from heart disease are often preventable. The world is thankful to Dr. Christian Barnard for his wonderful contribution to heart patients everywhere. Before Dr. Barnard's incredible achievement, most people had not imagined that a heart transplant would ever be possible.